Dr. Maya Santos stood in the depths of the Lunar Archaeological Complex, her heart pounding as she studied the holographic reconstruction before her. The ancient ruins, discovered during routine expansion of the moon base, had initially seemed unremarkable. But after 3 months of painstaking analysis, she knew she was looking at something that could shatter humanity's understanding of their place in the galaxy. The symbols spinning in the air weren't just decorative. They were warnings. Warnings about the very aliens who now claim to be humanity's benevolent mentors. Dr. Santos, the voice of her research partner, Dr. James Chen, broke through her concentration. The Meridian ambassador is requesting access to the dig site again. Says it's part of their cultural exchange program. Maya's fingers tightened around her tablet. The Meridian Confederation had arrived on Earth 5 years ago, promising to guide humanity into an advanced spacefaring civilization. Their technology had seemed miraculous. Quantum drives that could bend space-time, energy shields that defied physics, medical advances that had eradicated dozens of diseases. But these ruins told a different story. "Tell them the site is undergoing structural reinforcement," she replied, not taking her eyes off the hologram. "We can't risk any visitors until it's complete." James moved closer, lowering his voice. "They're getting persistent. This is the 3rd request this week. I think they suspect something." "They should," Maya muttered. "Because according to these translations, the Meridians have done this before. Many times." The hologram showed scenes from thousands of years ago. Another civilization, reaching for the stars, accepting the Meridians' help. And then came the betrayal, the systematic weakening of their defenses, the carefully engineered dependencies, the final subjugation. "We need to get this to Admiral Chen," Maya said, beginning the process of encrypting her findings. "The similarities to our current situation are too precise to be coincidence. The technological gifts they offer, the subtle redirections away from certain research paths, the increasing presence of their ships in our system." James ran a hand through his gray hair. "You really think they're planning to do the same to us? After all their talk of peaceful cooperation? These ruins are proof they've done it before. The civilization that left these warnings, they called themselves the Arcani. They were systematically stripped of their independence, turned into a client race bound to serve Meridian interests. And they weren't the first." An alert flashed on Maya's tablet. Unauthorized ships entering lunar space. James checked his own device and swore softly. 3 Meridian vessels on an approach vector to the complex. They're claiming it's a routine cultural visit. Maya's mind raced. They had to protect this discovery, had to get the warning out. But more than that, they needed to understand how the Arcani had seen through the Meridian's deception. Because hidden in these ruins was something else. Hints of technology that even the Meridians had failed to comprehend. "Lock down the site," she ordered, initiating emergency protocols. "Activate the quantum interference fields we borrowed from their own designs, and get me a secure channel to Admiral Chen. He needs to know what we found." As klaxons began to sound through the complex, Maya took one last look at the holographic warnings. The Arcani had tried to preserve their knowledge, hoping someone would find it before falling into the Meridian's trap. Now, thousands of years later, their message had reached its intended audience, and humanity would not make the same mistake. "They think we're primitive," Maya said, watching as the emergency barriers slammed into place. "They think we'll follow the same path as all their other victims. But they don't understand humans very well, do they?" James managed a grim smile as he established the secure link to Earth Command. "No. And that's going to be their biggest mistake." The Meridian ships were getting closer, but Maya felt a fierce sense of determination. Humanity had been preparing for betrayal since the aliens first arrived, building secret facilities, developing their own technologies, never fully trusting their supposed benefactors. Now those preparations would prove essential, because the Meridians were about to learn that humans were different from their previous victims. They didn't just accept gifts, they improved upon them. They didn't just learn, They innovated. And they never, ever took kindly to being manipulated. As Maya transmitted her findings through quantum-encrypted channels, she knew she was lighting the fuse on a conflict that would reshape the galaxy. The Meridians thought they were springing a trap generations in the making. Instead, they were about to discover that humanity had turned their own game against them. And this time, the hunters were about to become the hunted. Around the complex, hidden defense systems powered up. Systems the Meridians didn't know existed, based on principles they thought humans were too primitive to grasp. Maya allowed herself a small smile as she watched the alien ships approach. They thought they were coming to secure a simple archaeological site. They were about to discover just how wrong they were. Deep beneath the Martian ice caps, Project Oracle hummed with activity. Dr. Kira Chen, quantum physicist and daughter of Admiral Chen, stood before a massive holographic display showing the culmination of 3 years' work. The artifact they'd recovered from the lunar ruins wasn't just a warning. It was a key to understanding the fundamental flaws in Meridian technology. "Run the simulation again," she ordered, her eyes fixed on the swirling quantum patterns. Behind her, dozens of scientists and engineers worked at their stations, each focused on different aspects of what might be humanity's greatest scientific breakthrough. The simulation showed what the Meridians thought impossible, a complete bypass of their quantum shield technology. But more than that, it showed how to improve upon it, pushing the boundaries of physics in ways their supposed mentors had never imagined. Dr. Chen called out Dr. Marcus Rodriguez from his station. "I'm seeing some unusual patterns in the artifact's resonance field. It's like it's responding to our tests." Kira moved to his station, studying the readings. The Arcani artifact, a crystalline structure no larger than her palm, pulsed with an inner light. They discovered that it wasn't just a data storage device. It was a working prototype of technology the Meridians had failed to suppress. "They were more advanced than the Meridians realized," Kira murmured. "They didn't just document their discoveries. They found ways to preserve their technology in forms that looked primitive." The Meridians saw what they expected to see: simple crystalline artifacts. They missed the quantum signatures completely. A secure communication channel opened, showing her father's face. "Kira, we've got a situation. The Meridians are moving on the lunar complex." Dr. Santos managed to transmit her findings, but they've locked down the site. "We need Oracle operational now." Kira's hands flew over the controls, bringing up new data streams. "We're close. The artifact isn't just showing us their weaknesses, it's showing us how to exploit them. The Meridians think their quantum barrier technology is perfect, but there's a resonance frequency that can shatter it completely." "How long?" Admiral Chen's voice was tense. "Give me 12 hours. We've almost cracked the final equations. Once we do, their defensive systems won't just fail, they'll collapse catastrophically." The Admiral nodded. "You have 6. Our orbital sensors show more Meridian ships entering the system. Whatever they're planning, they're accelerating their timeline." As the communication ended, Kira turned to her team. "You heard him. No more breaks, no more safety margins. We need this working now." The next 6 hours were a blur of calculations, adjustments, and breakthroughs. The Arcani artifact seemed to respond to their increasing urgency, its pulses growing stronger as they pushed closer to understanding its secrets. "It's not just technology," Marcus said during a rare quiet moment. "It's like they encoded their very understanding of physics into these crystals. Every test we run reveals new layers of complexity." Kira nodded, watching as another simulation completed successfully. They knew someone would eventually see through the Meridians' deception. "They left us everything we'd need to fight back, if we were advanced enough to understand it." A sudden spike in the readings drew everyone's attention. The artifact's glow had intensified, and new patterns were emerging in the holographic display. "That's it," Kira breathed, her fingers dancing over the controls. "The resonance cascade. It's not just about matching their shield frequency, it's about amplifying it until the whole system tears itself apart." Around her, the Project Oracle facility burst into renewed activity. Engineers began adapting the principles to weapons systems. Quantum specialists started modifying shield generators. What had begun as a research project was transforming into humanity's secret weapon. Begin production immediately, Kira ordered, sending the final calculations to the fabrication facilities hidden throughout the solar system. Priority on defensive installations first, then ship-mounted systems. A warning klaxon sounded. More Meridian ships entering the system. But instead of fear, Kira felt a fierce satisfaction. Let them come. Let them think their trap was ready to spring. Because thanks to the Arcani's warning and humanity's relentless drive to understand and improve, Project Oracle was about to change everything. The Meridians thought they were dealing with students, carefully guided along predetermined paths of development. They were about to learn that humanity had long since outgrown their teachings. As the fabricators hummed to life, producing technology that would soon reshape the balance of power in the galaxy, Kira sent a message to her father. Oracle is ready, and they'll never see it coming. Throughout the solar system, humanity's hidden preparations were about to bear fruit. The Meridians had spent years studying human behavior, human technology, human potential. But they'd missed something fundamental about human nature, a drive to exceed limitations, to push boundaries, to turn setbacks into advantages. They thought they were preparing to subjugate another primitive species. Instead, they were about to face an opponent who had taken their own technology and transformed it into something they could never have imagined. The trap was set, but not for humanity. The Meridian High Commander Zextal stood on the bridge of the flagship Eternal Dominion, watching as hundreds of warships emerged from quantum space around Earth. After centuries of careful manipulation, another primitive species would join their empire. The humans had been particularly amusing. So eager to learn, so grateful for the scraps of technology they'd been given. Begin the containment protocol, he ordered, mandibles clicking in satisfaction. Activate the quantum suppression fields. But as his fleet moved to surround Earth, something unexpected happened. The quantum suppression fields, technology that had subjugated dozens of species, failed to activate. High Commander, his science officer called out, confusion evident in their harmonics. We're detecting unusual resonance patterns in our shield matrices. Before Zextal could respond, a transmission cut through their supposedly unbreakable encryption. The face that appeared on the command screen was human. Admiral Chen, looking remarkably calm for someone about to be conquered. High Commander Zextal, Chen said, his voice level. I believe it's time we had an honest conversation about the true nature of our relationship. Zextal's secondary hearts skipped a beat. This wasn't how subjugation was supposed to proceed. Your species will submit to Meridian authority, he declared. Your pitiful defenses cannot match your quantum barriers. Chen interrupted, cannot penetrate your suppression fields. I suggest you check your systems again, Commander. Carefully. Around the Meridian fleet, invisible frequencies began to build. Frequencies that matched and amplified the natural resonance of their shield systems. Frequencies that should have been impossible for humans to discover. On Earth's moon, Maya Santos watched from the secured archaeological complex as humanity's true fleet emerged from hidden bases across the solar system. Ships that looked nothing like the primitive vessels the Meridians had seen before, sleek, advanced, and incorporating technology that even their would-be conquerors hadn't mastered. Signal from Project Oracle confirmed, her assistant reported. All systems are synchronized. The resonance cascade is ready. Maya thought of the ancient Arcani warnings, of their final gift to future victims of Meridian manipulation. Send the activation code. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden quantum transmitters powered up. The frequency they broadcast seemed harmless at first, until it began to interact with the Meridian's own shield systems. On the Eternal Dominion, alarms screamed as shield harmonics went critical. Impossible, Zextal breathed, watching as his supposedly invincible defenses began to tear themselves apart. They're primitives. They couldn't have understood the fundamental flaws in your quantum barrier technology. Admiral Chen's voice was steel. Couldn't have improved upon it. You spent so much time studying our history, our technology, our potential. But you missed something crucial about humanity, Commander. Around the Meridian Fleet, human ships took up attack positions. Ships equipped with weapons that incorporated both Meridian principles and human innovations. Innovations that pushed the technology far beyond what the Meridians had thought possible. We don't just accept gifts, Chen continued. We study them, improve them, push them beyond their original limitations, and we never, ever take kindly to being manipulated. The resonance cascade reached critical frequency. Throughout the Meridian Fleet, quantum barriers shattered, leaving their ships exposed. But worse than that, their own systems began to turn against them, the carefully controlled quantum fields becoming chaotic and unpredictable. "This is your only warning," Chen declared. "Withdraw your fleet immediately, or we will demonstrate just how much we've learned from your mentorship." In the lunar complex, Maya watched as the Meridian Fleet fell into chaos. The warnings they'd discovered had been right. The Meridians' greatest strength was also their greatest weakness. They were so convinced of their technological superiority that they'd never imagined their subjects could surpass them. Multiple Meridian ships losing power, James reported from his station. Their quantum cores are destabilizing. They're actually running. Indeed, the mighty Meridian Fleet was retreating. Their carefully laid plans for subjugation shattered along with their shields. They had come expecting to cage a primitive species. Instead, they had awakened a force they couldn't control. As the last Meridian ships flooded into quantum space, Admiral Chen's voice echoed through the command channels. "All units, maintain defensive positions. This isn't over. It's only beginning. The Meridians will be back, and next time, they'll be ready for a real fight." Maya looked at the holographic warnings the Arcani had left, feeling a deep connection to that long-vanished species. They had sacrificed everything to leave this warning, this gift of knowledge. Now humanity would do what they couldn't, stand against the Meridians not just as equals, but as superiors. The age of manipulation was over. The age of humanity had begun. 2 weeks after the failed subjugation of Earth, humanity launched its counteroffensive. The Meridian Empire had never experienced defeat in its 1,000-year history of conquest. They were about to learn how humans responded to those who threatened their freedom. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the ECS Prometheus, humanity's first true quantum dreadnought. Around him, a fleet of ships incorporating both reverse-engineered Meridian technology and unique human innovations prepared to make their first faster-than-light jump as a combat force. "All ships report ready, Admiral," his tactical officer announced. "Project Oracle's targeting systems are fully synchronized." Chen nodded, studying the holographic display showing their first target, a major Meridian shipyard complex in the Rigel sector. The Meridians thought they were safe behind their quantum barriers, protected by distances too vast for primitive humans to traverse quickly. "Send the jump coordinates to all ships," he ordered. "Execute Operation Lightbringer on my mark." Dr. Kira Chen's voice came through the quantum comm. "Remember, Admiral, the resonance cascade effect will be even more devastating in their shipyards. Their quantum field networks are all interconnected." "Understood. All ships, prepare for quantum jump in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Execute." Space twisted around the human fleet as they made their first strategic jump into Meridian territory. They emerged precisely where planned, right in the heart of the shipyard's defensive grid. The Meridian response was immediate but futile. Their quantum barriers activated automatically, but these were the same systems humanity had already learned to shatter. Before they could even raise the alarm, the human fleet was broadcasting the critical resonance frequency. "Multiple barrier failures detected," the tactical officer reported with clinical precision. "Meridian defense grid is collapsing. Their ships are trying to power up, but the cascade effect is spreading through their network." On nearby worlds, Meridian sensors recorded something unprecedented, their mighty shipyards falling to an enemy they had dismissed as primitive. But more shocking than the defeat was how it was achieved. The humans weren't just using Meridian technology. They were using it in ways the Meridians had never imagined possible. Back on the Prometheus, Maya Santos worked with the sensor team, using her knowledge of Arcane technology to identify critical targets. Their quantum network hub is located in the central complex, she reported. If we can overload it. All ships, focus fire on the designated coordinates, Chen commanded. Let's show them what humanity's been working on while they thought they were controlling us. The human fleet's weapons were unlike anything the Meridians had encountered. Based on principles gleaned from both Meridian technology and Arcane artifacts, they didn't just destroy. They unraveled the quantum fields that the Meridians relied upon for everything from communications to life support. In the chaos, a transmission cut through from the shipyard's command center. The Meridian commander's face showed something his species rarely experienced: fear. "This is impossible," the alien declared. "You cannot possess this level of quantum manipulation. You were contained, controlled." "That was your first mistake," Chen replied calmly, "thinking you could contain human ingenuity. Your second was believing we would forgive betrayal." As the shipyard's defenses crumbled, humanity's true capabilities were finally revealed. Ships that could match and exceed Meridian maneuverability. Weapons that turned their own technology against them. And most importantly, crews who understood not just how to use these tools, but how to innovate with them in the heat of battle. "Admiral," Kira's voice came through again. "We're detecting quantum surge readings from their remaining facilities. They're trying to adapt their shields to our resonance cascade." Chen allowed himself a small smile. "Just as we predicted. Implement Protocol Hydra." Immediately, the frequency of the human attack shifted, morphing into new patterns that the Meridians couldn't adapt to fast enough. This wasn't just about superior technology. It was about superior thinking, about the human ability to change tactics and improvise that the Meridians had never developed in their millennia of unchallenged dominance. "Their command center is sending out a general distress call," Maya reported. "But with their quantum network compromised, it'll take hours for reinforcements to arrive." "By then, we'll be long gone," Chen replied. "And they'll have learned that humanity isn't just another species to be added to their collection. We're something they've never encountered before, an enemy who can beat them at their own game." As the last Meridian defenses fell, Chen broadcasted one final message to the surviving aliens. "This was just the beginning. You spent generations studying us, learning our weaknesses, but you forgot to study your own. We're coming for every world you've subjugated, every species you've enslaved. The age of Meridian dominance is over." The human fleet prepared to jump to their next target, leaving behind a shattered shipyard and a shattered paradigm. The Meridians had thought themselves invincible, their technology unmatched, their strategy perfect. They were about to learn just how wrong they had been. 1 year after humanity's counterstrike began, the last Meridian stronghold fell. The Grand Council chamber of the Meridian Empire, untouched for millennia, now hosted representatives from Earth alongside delegates from dozens of formerly subjugated species. The massive quantum crystal dome overhead, once a symbol of Meridian superiority, had been rebuilt using human innovations. Dr. Maya Santos stood at the central podium, surrounded by artifacts both Meridian and Arcane. The knowledge that had helped humanity resist subjugation would now help rebuild a galaxy. "The Arcane left us more than warnings," she addressed the assembled representatives. "They left us hope. Hope that someone would eventually see through the Meridian's deception. Hope that someone would have the strength to fight back. Humanity was honored to fulfill that hope, but we recognize that with victory comes responsibility." Admiral Chen, now Earth's representative to the newly formed Galactic Coalition, stepped forward. "We didn't fight this war just to replace one empire with another. The Meridians' greatest crime wasn't their technology or even their military might. It was their belief that they had the right to control the development of other species. In the audience, representatives from dozens of freed worlds listened intently. Some had been under Meridian control for centuries, their natural development arrested, their potential suppressed. Others had only recently been targeted, like humanity, but all shared the same scars of manipulation and betrayal. Dr. Kira Chen, who had revolutionized quantum physics through her work on Project Oracle, addressed the technical aspects. We're already seeing incredible advances as freed worlds combine their knowledge. The Meridians didn't just suppress technology, they suppressed collaboration, ensuring no species could combine their unique insights. That ends today. The changes were already evident. Freed from Meridian control, former client races were rediscovering their own innovations, combining them with human advances, and creating technologies that pushed the boundaries of possibility even further. But with this freedom comes a warning. Maya continued, activating a holographic display of the original Arcani messages. The Arcani didn't fall because they were weak. They fell because they trusted too completely, believed too easily in the benevolence of those more advanced than themselves. We must ensure this never happens again. The new Galactic Coalition was built on principles learned from both victory and near defeat. No single species would control the development of another. Technology and knowledge would be shared openly, allowing each civilization to develop along its own path while contributing to the greater whole. In orbit above the former Meridian capital, Earth's quantum dreadnoughts maintained their vigilant watch. Not as conquerors, but as guardians, ensuring that no new empire would arise to replace the old. The humans didn't just defeat us, a former Meridian commander admitted to a colleague. They showed us how stagnant we become. Millennia of unchallenged supremacy had made us predictable, inflexible. They beat us not just with technology, but with creativity we'd forgotten was possible. Indeed, humanity's victory had transformed more than just the political landscape. It had introduced a new way of thinking about progress, about cooperation, about the fundamental nature of advancement itself. The quantum technology that had been the Meridian's greatest weapon was now being transformed. Under human guidance, it was becoming a tool for connection rather than control, for exploration rather than suppression. We stand at the dawn of a new era. Admiral Chen concluded the historic session. But we must remember the lessons that brought us here. Power must be balanced with wisdom. Advanced technology must be paired with ethical consideration. And most importantly, we must never forget that every species, no matter how seemingly primitive, has the potential to surpass our expectations. As the assembly concluded, Maya found herself back in the chamber that had started it all, the lunar archaeological complex where she'd first discovered the Arcani warnings. The crystalline artifacts still pulsed with their ancient light, but now they seemed less like desperate warnings and more like proud beacons of hope. They would be proud, James said, joining her at the observation window. The Arcani, I mean. Their sacrifice wasn't in vain. Maya nodded, watching as ships from a dozen different species passed by the lunar surface, each incorporating their own unique innovations into the technologies humanity had helped free. We did more than just resist subjugation, she replied. We changed the very nature of how species interact in this galaxy. The future stretched out before them, full of possibilities that even the Meridians had never imagined. Humanity had proven itself not just as warriors capable of defeating an empire, but as leaders capable of building something better in its place. And somewhere, in the vast expanse of space, the spirit of the Arcani lived on in the principles of the new coalition, a reminder that knowledge shared was power multiplied, and that the greatest strength lay not in control, but in cooperation. The dawn of a new age had truly begun.